Well, hello everyone. I am a little I ca- weird. So I seem a little behind. Do I seem lag to you, Ninj?
Huh?
Do, it's as if I'm watching myself, but I'm lagged behind myself.
Oh,
Yeah, really
you look
strange.
fine with
Do
me.
I look live to you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you're
so-
live to me.
oh, this is not good.
Uh-uh.
Oh.
It says we're live up on top corner.
Oh. This is really weird. Um, all right. So, because I can hear myself watching and listening, but then I hear myself after. So maybe I'll just turn it down and then I will just talk. Except for, can I hear you, Ninj?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see me?
No, not going to work because now I'm. Oh. Can you hear the lag, Ninj?
No, I can't
Oh,
hear it at all.
okay. So you
I
know
can
what,
hear
people?
you perfectly clear.
Okay. So I don't know why this is happening. Let's see. Let's see. How do I um
Can you back out and go back in?
okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, so I paused it. I was hearing it play. That's why. All right. So awesome. All right. Okay, Giggles, I see you there. Giggles, if you can hear us okay and it's all good, could you please put in the chat that you can hear us okay and that everything sounds great? Can you please put that in the chat? Giggles, who is still up in England, which means it's like 11
Wow.
there.
Yes, you've been up for a while, for the last couple of weeks, I think you said.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that people can hear us because I paused the video on my end, but I don't know if that paused the live. I think it might have paused the live. It did. All right, let's try this again. All right, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. So, oh boy. So when I pause, does it go live? Giggles, if you can hear me right now, put in there. Giggles, if you can hear me right now, put in the chat that everything's good. Okay, great, fantastic.
All right, yay!
It doesn't skip ahead to the live broadcast. Okay, all right. So hello everyone. That was really interesting. Hopefully, again, this is still live. The live button doesn't show red.
It does show on my end, so I can see it
Okay.
live.
Okay, great. This is our first YouTube live. So, thank you for bearing with us, everybody. All right. Well, welcome to, well, I'll let you, Ninj, start it out because Freedom Project is yours. So go ahead and welcome.
Well, Freedom Project itself is mine. Wow, everybody heard that. No, but welcome to the show, everyone. We thought it would be really good to have a live conversation about women and them looking for love. And how we actually am gone through it. I'm learning about all of that stuff. So welcome. So if you guys have any questions, put it in the chat and we will try and get to them. Although I can't see them, so I don't know if you can see the questions.
Yeah. Yep,
Okay.
I can
All
see
right.
them. Yeah. And I
So,
can't see you live either, but that's okay.
oh,
Yeah.
all right.
I'm just gonna wing it.
So why don't we start with a little bit of your background of what your life was before,
Yeah.
how you look to the outside to make you feel happy and joyful and stuff. So why don't you start with that?
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ninj. I'm super
Yeah.
excited to do this. This could be like, this can be like a monthly thing, maybe, that we have these live calls, these YouTube lives. It's a great Freedom Project TV thing, and great job on the idea, Ninja. I do want to say cheers, right? Let's say cheers.
Yeah.
With their
Cheers,
wine.
everyone.
We invited everybody to bring their wine. Giggles, it's like, almost midnight there. So, hey, have some wine. And you know what, Ninj? I think to really get this topic of conversation, because it's a hefty topic of conversation, I think to really get it into the groove, I actually think we should start with that story that you shared with me.
Oh, yeah.
And then we can go.
Yeah.
We can go into, I think it was important for both of us. I think it was your idea to have this conversation because we saw so many women coming into the course, as you know, that were really struggling with being in unhealthy relationships that they knew they wanted to get out of, right?
Yeah.
And then, in the broader sense of seeing that a lot with women, wanting to manifest a partner or being in the same kind of relationships over and over and over, as I was. And so it was really important for both of us to talk about this today. And, you and I work hard on stepping into the empowered women that we are, and want to share that with everybody. So there's just kind of a basis for the conversation today. So go ahead and share your.
Yeah. So this is an old Indian story. I had came across this probably about 2-3 years, and when I saw it, it really hit hard because I saw myself in the story. So let me read to you. One day, a musk deer comes across this aroma. The deer becomes completely intoxicated and captivated by this incredible fragrance. The deer leaped from where it was standing in pursuit of the musk. He did not know where the scent was coming from, but he was propelled to pursue it. He searched through the forest day and night, through the hills and the forest for the source of the scent. He looked and looked. He was so captivated by the scent. The deep, sorry, he was captivated by the scent. The deer no longer ate or drank or slept. Finally, starving and exhausted, he slipped through the top of the rock and fell mortally wounded. The musk houses, torn when he fell from the rocks, poured out its perfume. He gasped and tried to breathe in the scent, but it was too late. The deer spent his entire life searching for outside what was always hidden inside. And that was me. I looked for that scent, and I looked for the joy, I looked for the love, I looked for anything that could give me happiness and joy, make me feel seen, make me feel heard, and all that. So I would read that from time to time, and that really, really helped me to stop and think about, okay, am I looking outside or am I turning inward? And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the journey for a lot of women. And the thing that strikes me in that story is like pretty much the deer killing itself practically to get a sense of this smell. And, my journey was like that. It really was. It was um, looking for men's love in any way, shape, or form I could get it. And that started out at a young age being extremely promiscuous in high school, and even after, because I had no sense of self love. It's that term's overused, but I had no sense of who I was. I was on default. I was on the default network. That identity of that we get from age 0 to 7. And so therefore I would just take anything. Just anything that even remotely um, seemed replicated some kind of a love or attention, I would take because it was better than nothing, because I had no sense of knowing that the only place that that love was going to come was from in me. I had no idea. I didn't know that. And so I was searching outside, and I remember, as I was getting ready for our conversation, and I was thinking about where I was at, the space I was at before I met my ex-husband. And I had been before him, I'd been in a pretty serious relationship for about 2 years. And we split up and I was devastated. I was in my late 20s or mid 20s, devastated, like heartbroken, and really for a year chased him. I just just even him sending me a text, I was like, oh my God, and I just was in misery for that year, just begging, for begging the universe, which I didn't know at the time, to bring me him, because I thought that's where the love would come from. And when I met my ex-husband, he was the first person that actually kind of took my attention off of that relationship. And so again, anything that remotely resembled some kind of a love, I'm like, okay, here we go. I'll take anything, right? And my previous marriage was the epitome. It was the culmination of all of those really unhealthy relationships I had with men, with guys, my whole life. And it was the culmination of that. And it was not a healthy marriage. The first 3-4 years were physically abusive. And I don't think I would have ever thought I would have been in a relationship like that before, but I didn't know what else to do. And the thing that happens in those kind of relationships is you start to really believe that you can't function without that person. I started to really believe that. We had kids and the whole thing. And he's not a bad guy. And as the years went on, that got better, but it was never a loving relationship. Of course, it was never, I don't think I ever heard him say to me, you are beautiful, you're whatever. I mean, none of those things, because that's the frequency I was operating at. That was my default mode. All of those things he was doing to me were all of the things that I was doing inside myself. I was the deer chasing the scent, thinking that it was going to come from outside of me, and thinking, if I just do this, if I just do that, it'll get better as time goes on. And, so all I was receiving from him was exactly what I felt about me. And he had his own demons and default mode network. And so we were feeding off of each other. It was both of us looking for that love on the outside. And, him and I luckily have a really great relationship now that we're not together anymore. And because I see now that exactly it, and just to go over how I came to that very quickly for the people don't know, I started meditating. I read a book by Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's called You Are the Placebo, and it was just all about meditation. I'd never meditated. And so really it was about, for me, when I began the journey of finding that love within me, which is so overused. Self-love so overused, and then people can't actually experience it because it's too overused. But it really was, when I started meditating, it was about getting to know the default mode, which is exactly what we do in our Beyond Limits course now. which is getting very freaking clear on who Emily was. I thought I was all of these things I had been told or taught my whole life. I didn't know I could be somebody else. I didn't know that there was some other version of M out there in a different frequency. I didn't know that. And so the first step for me, and the first step that we teach in our Beyond Limits course, is awareness, is just realizing what that default mode network is. And in the process of that, now as time went on and I started really becoming clear on who I was, I started also cultivating a connection with my own version of spirit, source, God, the universe, whatever word you want to use, whatever that is for you, a cultivation with that relationship. And when I started getting clear on the default mode, when I started cultivating this relationship, when I started recognizing when it was coming up during the day, and I started stepping out of comfort zones, and I started figuring out who I want to be. Who do I want to be? Who is the person I want to be? And on that journey was coming to a place of love, like real, like it sounds so cheesy and out there, but it really was it's so funny. You can read my journals. I have tons of them, and watch my journey progress through those. And I wrote Scott down, my husband now. I wrote him down because I started getting clearer and clearer and clearer. I didn't know if it was going to be my husband or what, but I started getting clearer and clearer on who my default mode network was, who I wanted to become. And in that process, of course, my ex-husband and I's relationship just crumbled, because I wasn't operating on that. I wasn't manifesting from that place of just looking for love anywhere out there anymore. I was starting to cultivate it within me. And as I was starting to cultivate that within me, that frequency was starting to fall apart. And for some, that can be a really scary process. For me, I was so in a place that I didn't care anymore, because I just wanted love. I remember thinking that I just want love. I was starting to experience that love in my meditations, and I wanted that to be reflected on the outside. I could feel it. I started to feel it on the inside until I had my big awakening, and I left, and I shortly after found the love of my life. But that was only based on, I wasn't looking for him. I was just so happy to be out of that marriage. I was so happy for the first time in my life to be stepping into a version that I consciously chose of me, to be stepping into life and feeling so much joy and love for myself, like beyond anything I experienced before. It didn't really matter if I was in a relationship anymore. I wouldn't just take anything at that point anymore, because I knew who I was. Right. So it led me to Scott. I wrote him down in my journal. Everything that I wrote down is him. And it's not based on needing him. It's based on loving myself first and growing with each other and building each other up. And that's the journey I hope to take other women on, is, through that process, which is, like I said, exactly what we do in Beyond Limits, is really getting clear and recognizing what the default mode is. You are not who you think you are. You think, we grow up, people saying, oh, you are this, oh, you're that. So then you start saying that, oh, I'm so this, oh, I'm so that. And when you start this process of getting clear under the default mode, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I'm not that way. Maybe I've just been told that my whole life. And there's so many women, like, Ninj, that come into our course and they have no idea who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was one of them.
Right. Right.
I didn't know that there could have been another part of me. And that's when you guys really showed me that there is another part of me. What I've been living 50 plus years is what do you guys say? It's the culture, it's the upbringing, it's from my parents' belief and from their parents' belief. And it just got instilled in me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to say I didn't know that I had a soul that knew me.
Yeah.
But, after working with you guys for a year, that soul is little Suzanne.
Yes.
And my new personality is Ninja. And she's kicking ass.
Yeah. Yes, she is. So tell us your journey in that, because I remember when you came into the course, you were like, all I want is to love myself more. I remember like that. You were so clear on that intention. I just want to love myself more.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Just like you said, I knew that by the time I came to you guys, I knew that I didn't want my husband, my boys, my friends to be the reason for my happiness. I didn't have a clue of what that would look like. But I just knew that I had to find the love for myself.
Yeah.
And, working with you guys through the course, the breathwork mini series, the freedom activation, like that's holy shit. That being able to release all of those old emotions that did not serve me at all.
That weren't even yours to begin with, right?
Exactly. Once I would been able, and it was like piece by piece, it wasn't all at once by any means. But the more I took out of my body, the more I got clearer. And the more I realized that I can actually hold my entire life in my own hands and not somebody else's. It's the only way I can describe it.
Yes.
And so I'm not there 100%, but I have so much more respect for myself.
Yes.
And once I got that, I have more respect for my parents. Because I'm now beginning to understand that they had their own stories. Their upbringing and their stuff. So it's just like it's the only way I can really describe it.
And what a beautiful full circle, because then you are stopping that cultural conditioning with you. So it doesn't continue onto your kids and their kids and their kids. You are becoming awakened and really stepping into a place, and that, as we talk about all the time, it spills over into every area of your life, right? Your parenting, your career, your creation, your like everything it spills over into, because you're coming from a completely different frequency. You're coming from a place that you are choosing instead of what was given to you. You're not going, okay, I need all these things out there. Like you said, I love what you said about, I didn't want my husband and my kids to be like the one that, I have a,
yeah, okay.
It was a call coming in. I'm like, oh, is that? Bear with me.
Okay.
Anyways, and I think it really is. It's, and there's a couple women in particular I'm thinking of right now that I'm sure you'll know who I'm talking about in the course, that are repeating these same kind of relationships. And they're like, I don't know why, like, I know it's not really what the empowered self version of who I want to be with. But until we get clear on who that default mode is, and then get clear on who we want to be, and then step into who we want to be, we will keep going back to the same relationships with men, to the same relationships with friends, to the same relationships with family, to the same relationships with your kids. It will spill over everywhere in your life, because that's the frequency you're operating on. And, like I said, that the first step was really awareness. For me, it's the first step in our course really is awareness and excavation, and seeing that, because if you don't know that, if you don't know what the default mode is, the programs are, the beliefs are, then they're going to happen in the background all day long, and they will literally create everything you see in front of you. That is what's creating the same kind of relationships with men. That is what the deer running around looking for the scent outside of them, instead of just stopping, if the deer would have sat and meditated and did some breath work for a bit,
Right.
we could have got quiet instead of being busy on the outside. But I think, for me, it's scary to get quiet. It's scary to know what you're going to hear when you get quiet.
Yeah.
It's scary to put a mirror in front of your in your face. It's
And
scary.
you did, and you did that too, because weren't you busy? You were busy.
So busy.
And you knew that if you stopped, that then you would have had to look in, and you used to do that for the longest.
Because then I knew I would have to make different choices in my life, and I was too scared to. I was so scared to make those choices. I was so scared to even admit out loud, holy shit, this is not a healthy marriage. Holy shit, I am not showing my kids what two empowered people in themselves are in love. And here's the thing, I didn't even show who I really was on the inside to my ex-husband to even give him a chance to know me, but because I didn't know, and then once I started knowing, as we say all the time, Ninja, you know this, either the relationship falls away or it comes up to a higher frequency. It has to, because when you're changing yourself inside, you're going to operate from a different frequency. And so it's going to change relationships in your life. And that is what people are afraid of. That's what women are afraid of. They're afraid of being alone.
Yeah.
Rather take anything that resembles the littlest, tiniest amount of love, because they're afraid to be alone. And when you can sit with yourself over and over and over and get clear on who you want to be, that's going to be your passion, is your growth. And when that's your passion, trying to find a love and a partner out there won't matter anymore, because you will be celebrating, like you said, you'll be celebrating like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like I need somebody to take care of me anymore. That's a huge thing, especially for women. Like, that's where I was. Like, I can't even trust myself outside of this marriage. I don't know. I'll screw it up. I'll screw my life up. I've always been a screw up. And for the first time in my life, in however 37 years, I think I'm 37. For the first time in my life, I feel the most self-trust and self-love I've ever felt. And that took being willing. And, I think people ask all the time, especially for women, what does it take to create and cultivate that relationship with yourself and with that higher part of yourself, with your soul, with your God, whatever. And for me, it took doing really scary things. And for me, it took really stepping out. And like you said, in some moments, only trusting myself, not listening to anyone else on the outside. And that is a big deal. That's a big deal. Takes a level.
It's hard when you have people on the outside telling you what you should do or how it's going to look like. And that because where I am now, when I do hear that, it's like, wow, I was there once.
I know.
I said that to somebody else. And it's like, that's them. And they don't know what's right for me. I'm learning what's right for me, but it may not fit into their view.
Yes.
I think if that's what you want to say, and that's okay. But
And if we all got to that understanding of like, you do you, I'm going to do me. I don't need you to make me happy. You don't need me to make you happy. When we can come to that place, then it's we all have our own power. We're all not depending on somebody else to find that scent on the outside. We're stopping and saying, what is it in me that stays in this relationship? What is it in me that keeps attracting the same relationship? Why do I keep feeling the need that I even need to have a relationship?
Right.
That I need to keep trying to manifest some person to make me complete. Now, I say that with a grain of salt, because of course we're humans, and part of our humanness is we want companionship. We want that. But the deeper understanding is the moment you don't need it, the moment that you're so full and happy with who you are, is when it shows up. That's when it showed up for me. I didn't need it. In fact, I didn't want it. I was like, oh my God, this discovery of who this M girl is really kind of cool.
Yeah. And you know what I love about M? I love that she is so, so on purpose. I love
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't
Yeah.
know you before, but
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's what I want
Yeah.
in my life to be. I
Yeah.
want to be on purpose. I want to
Yeah.
be creative. I want
Yes.
to be, and
Yeah.
that's what I
And you
love.
are like, you are starting to find that in you,
Yeah,
right?
the
The
creativity is
creative.
like,
Yes. Yes.
I'm like, where did that
Yeah.
come from?
Yes. Yes.
It,
It's so
com-
funny,
it,
Minj. Go ahead.
yeah. No, just, I was just saying the ocean that, my writing the last 4 days, couple
Yeah.
days, it's just
Yeah.
like, because I'm so open
Yes.
and I am so like ready
Yeah.
that it just literally flows. Now, you
Yes.
guys talk about everything flowing through you. I
Yeah.
didn't know what that means.
Right.
Well, I am getting
Yeah.
to know what that means because
Yeah.
it's like, so now that I have a taste of this, of what that
Yeah.
flow feels like, when I'm out of flow, when I'm off balance,
You know it.
I will exactly. I'll
Wow.
be able to pinpoint, I'll be able to like, oh, I'm not in the flow because things aren't coming to me as
Yeah.
easily and
Yeah.
clearly.
Yeah.
But yes, that
And wouldn't you say, and going back to our Beyond Limits course, is the epitome and kind of the solid foundation is the two names, right? Ninja and Suzanne. And would you say when you're not in flow, you're probably on default mode, which is Suzanne.
yeah,
And when you're in flow, you're stepping into deeper and deeper levels of Ninja.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And it's so funny because you and I share this so much, because I would have never said before in my previous life that I was a creative person. I in fact thought I wasn't at all. I would say that I'm not a creative person at all. I would say I'm really good at cleaning. So what am I going to do with cleaning? What I didn't realize, and in fact tonight we started our trek across the country today. It was our first day of driving, and we got to the site we're staying at tonight, and we haven't been in our fifth wheel, Joni. We named her Joni after my grandmother that was my angel in this life.
oh,
And I'm cleaning up a little, and because we hadn't been here in a month, and I'm cleaning up and I'm lighting candles, and I'm like, I'm really good at creating an energy in a space that's very comforting. Whereas before I would have said, oh, I just can clean really well. Now I understand energy and frequency. And that is part of my creativity. That is like creating these spaces for people in a physical sense, and then being able to create a pathway of change for other people, which is my purpose. I know that now, and I'm so passionate about it now. I had always known that, but it got covered up with the default network with Emily. It got covered up if you're not very creative. And
yeah,
I think, like you said, when you're in flow and you have cultivated that relationship with that higher self, holy moly, watch out, right? Isn't like some
yeah,
days you're like, oh my gosh, like you said, your
yeah.
writing is just
I
holy
don't know.
moly.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, when I got done with it,
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, that's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Right. Yeah.
it just but just going back just a year, and
Mm,
I'm thinking about all my friends and even my relatives. It life is such a routine.
mm,
And it's like I can't. Well, let me go back to this part. When
yeah.
you first joined the Beyond Limit, the biggest thing that you guys talk about is you have to change your routine.
Yes.
And I'm going to I think I've told you, but I'm going to be honest here. That was not easy
Yeah.
because I am in such a routine
Yeah.
that, I know what I got to do when I
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
out of bed. I know
Yeah.
how I'm going to
Yeah.
brush my teeth. I'm going
Yeah.
to have my coffee, and I'm going to, make sure Eric is all taken
Yeah.
care of and the boys are all taken
Yeah.
care of. And
It's default
that
mode, right? Default mode.
is,
Just don't even think about it. Do it.
and it was hard. But now, of
Yeah.
course, looking back,
Yeah.
now I know why.
Mhm.
You have to get out of those old routines because that's the old you.
Yes.
The only way you
Yes.
can find out
Yes.
who you want to be,
Yes.
you gotta switch things up here. And that was it was easy,
Yeah.
but it wasn't at the
Difficult.
same time.
Difficult. Yeah.
So
It is. It is.
and I think that's really important for women to get out of their routine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you said, if you brush your teeth with your right hand, brush it with your left.
Yeah.
Those small steps is
Yeah.
what it takes.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, yeah, that can be awkward, but okay.
Yeah. Why am I doing this? I'll do it, I guess. That's what I love about you. Like, I don't get it, but I'll try it.
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah. And it is. It's switching that up so it starts to wake your default mode up. That's the only way to start waking it up, or you'll live Groundhog Day. And that's why I tell a lot of the women that come in our course, start the best way to know, a lot of them say, well, I don't know what I want. They have lack of clarity. They don't know because they've been operating on default mode for so long. They have no idea the person that they want to create. So like you said, the first step in the process, the first step in the course is creating the new name. The new name is who you are going to become in this process consciously. You're going to consciously choose, because those first 7 years of our life, we are in hypnosis and we are programmed. We are literally programmed with our identity. Unbeknownst to our parents, they didn't know that. As you said, it's nobody's fault. It's just the way it's worked. And so those first 7 years are pivotal and vital to creating who we are. And then those get reinforced. You're dumb, you're smart, you're good at math, you're a good writer, you're this, you're that. And then that's who you think you are. And so your life becomes that version of reality, that identity. In the whole while, if you didn't have a very loving and supportive and nurturing environment in those first 7 years, you will be looking for that. You will be craving that everywhere. And so again, you'll just take everything in. And so when you start waking up, essentially, then you have to, like you said, the next step after choosing the name and starting to become aware is that changing up your routine is vital. It's those little things that matter. And watch how much resistance comes up for you. Like you said, how much resistance comes up over changing your coffee cup? Like, really? You can't change your coffee cup? That shows you how ingrained that default mode is. So ingrained, right? And if you are uncomfortable doing that, you are definitely not going to want to do the bigger steps down the road that it takes to step into the new person. But it's the small things that matter. And once you start changing up your routine, new things can happen. You start becoming more aware. You start getting really honest and real, like you said, looking in the mirror and going, why am I so busy? What am I hiding from? What am I chasing? What is that? And when you start asking those questions, because you're starting to become aware, holy moly, you open up the floodgates, because then you can go, I'm really clear on what my life is right now. And I'm clear on what I don't want. Okay. Next step is, what do I want? That's the hardest part. People have the most problems with. We have so many people come through Beyond Limits and say, I don't have clarity. It's because you haven't gotten clear on what your life is right now. And once you, like you said, start getting rid of that energy within you, when you just stop, fucking stop, just take a moment and stop and get quiet and sit with yourself, and then start trying anything. I remember telling Arya, like, just try anything. Just take a art painting class, go take yourself out to dinner, just try things, because then you're going to start to know, like, that's how I found my passion and my purpose. That's how I live on purpose, because I tried different things. And that led me, as I was cultivating this relationship, that threw things in my path, right? As you know now, as you coming onto the team of the Freedom Project, like, oh my gosh, these things are opening up for me because I'm stepping into that. I'm changing who I am. I'm creating this identity. In your post, I freaking love it. Like, oh God, your post was just, it hit me. Like, I want to read it every day, because it is so the reminder of, while you need support and community, that's vital, you're going to walk it alone. You're going to have to take those steps on your own. And in taking those steps, that is what creates that self-love. And when you start to do hard things in your life and you start to get a bigger vision of what you want, I promise you, you will not mess around with things that are less than that. You won't do it. Your energy and your love is too sacred to you at that point. You understand that that is a cultivation from within, and anything that distracts from that, you just won't go there. You're not willing. I'm not willing to give up my love for myself over anything, because I understand that that's what creates my entire life. And stepping into the empowered woman is that, getting clearer and clearer and clearer. And that changes, but writing down, like we do in the workshops, who do you want to be? You know, what do you want in your life? We can't say what you want in your life until you realize who you want to be. And that's what Beyond Limits does, is give you a new identity. It gives you a new self, which therefore changes everything in your life, because it's all inside you, right? Yeah. It's that frequency within. And so I think that process, especially for women, you're going to have to start doing things different, whether it be our course, some other course, whatever that may be. You're going to have to do things differently, and you're going to have to go to places that maybe, you know, I've watched you, Ninja, be so brave in venturing into inside yourself. And going to those places that sometimes most people won't go their whole life. And that's exactly where you have to go to find out and remember who you really are, which is love. It's so cheesy and out there, but that's the only truth. That is the only truth I know to be true.
Yeah. And that leads me to responsibility. Oh my God, you guys instilled that in me, because I thought it was everybody else and it was never me. And that I know what I want to say. My brain is going so fast. I think that the best way to say this is that I learned that it was never anybody else. Never, ever.
No exception.
And that took a long time to get to truly understand that. Because what you guys showed me was that when you like you were saying, stop and look inside and just take that pause. Is it really my husband? Is it really the boys? Am I really mad because the car broke down? Those things, it's massive to me, because I never learned how to pause, for one. And when I stop and think about it, it's like, no, I'm mad because of this and this and this. And those things is what's inside of me. It's not anybody else, and it never has been. And that took a long time. I was like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what he did or said to me. And it's like, but wait, what he said to me is like, oh, that's triggering something in. And when you stop and get clear, you're going to realize, oh, my mother said this when I was 5 years old. And because he said it, 50 some odd years later, it's still in there. And that's what we work on. So for all the women who are on this, listening to this, it's not anything outside. It really is not. And so I wanted to talk about the responsibility of that. And stopping the blame and stopping the judgment, and just you physically need to stop and think. And
I think that you said it so perfectly, Ninja. You just said it so perfectly. The only I don't want to say much after that, because you really, and it's it is the hardest part of change to accept that it really it's radical responsibility. It's radical responsibility in every moment, because it will always go back to, if you are blaming or saying it's their fault that I'm feeling this way, you will always be taking away your power and their power. because you're giving them responsibility to make you feel a certain way, to make you feel happy, to make you feel sad, to make you feel angry, to make you feel whatever. And when we take radical responsibility, we go, if he said that, that's a neutral event. He said something. Okay, so maybe you have a reaction. But I think you and I were talking about this, that the actual chemical reaction in your body is 90 seconds, right? So when something happens, the chemical reaction is 90 seconds. After that, you're choosing to stay in that emotion. It's your choice. We think we don't have free will. We have, that's one thing we have, is free will. And so if we keep blaming everyone out there, then you don't have to look inside at the thing that your mother said to you at 5 years old.
Exactly.
But if you go, okay, what is this triggering in me? Like you said, when you do that and you start releasing those shit, you start falling in love, that same person can say the same thing to you and you have no reaction.
Yes.
You're like, okay, cool. You do you. You get mad. You get angry. You go for it.
Right.
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 I'm going to sit here and just be in love with myself. And it is the most empowering thing. This is why I'm so passionate about it, because it's the most empowering thing for everyone. Abraham Hicks talks about selfishness. So it's selfish if you only care about your feelings. So in other words, someone's saying, you quit caring about your feelings and you care about mine, right? You do this to make me feel better. Damn it. Don't be selfish. Isn't that the most selfish thing ever? You do this to make me feel happy. But it's such a paradigm shift from what we've been taught. So it takes time. I still have to remind myself of that all the time. And of course, are you going to have reactions in your life? Yes, you're a human being. But if you can uncover and discover where those come from, and then as you start moving into a different frequency and a different energy, those things aren't going to show up for you as more, because they don't trigger you. There's no need for them anymore. They're showing up because there's something in you that needs to be healed. So when a guy treats you like shit, that's why I say about my ex-husband, I'm so grateful that we have the relationship we do now, because it wasn't that he's a bad person or I'm a bad person or whatever. It's that what was being reflected back to me was only my childhood. Was only being scared of who I was only trying to conform and fit into somebody's version of me so I could just beg and plead for love, for some kind of resemblance of love. Yeah. And that is, I was too scared to take radical responsibility, as I said, as we most people are, because if they do, then they have to make a different choice. They have to leave the relationship. They have to stop searching for love. They have to do all of those things, and that's scary. But that is where true freedom lies. Like you said, when we can get to that place that, it's not always easy to see it in the moment. That's why there's coaches. That's why there's friends that go, here's your blind spots. It's not about him. I mean, how many times Scott and I say that to each other? It pisses me off when he says it. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
I know it. Damn it. I know it. And we joke all the time. It's all inside you. It's all inside you. You're choosing to be pissed off at the car that's following you too closely. You're choosing that. And I say that to my daughter all the time. You're choosing. No one's making you feel any way. And that's radical responsibility. And when we can take that as women, holy moly, that's when we stepped into the most empowered version of ourselves. Because then we realize the change comes from within. And then when we have our power, watch out, world.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's, go ahead.
And I was going to say, that's one of the things that I'm realizing now, is that I am getting into that power. I'm taking back that power, because it's not Eric's responsibility for my happiness, nor is it my responsibility for his happiness. Absolutely. So when you have a couple who both are looking for the love and making it each other's responsibility for that happiness, that joy, and when you're looking for it in each other and you don't have it inside you, that's when I got it. Because I used to hear, well, if you don't love yourself, you can't possibly love anybody else, and I'd be like, what does that mean?
Yeah, right.
Now I know. So when you have husband, wife, boyfriend, significant others, whoever they are, when you have that that pattern and those beliefs and those emotions, that it's my partner's responsibility. Now that I'm rising up and getting into that empowered, my partner could be still down here, or he may rise up to meet me. But when we can't meet at the same level, I'm going to want that empowered person, whether it's a partner or a friend, friendship, coaches, anything. And that's what, this call is about, is to get women to understand that if you're unhappy and he or she's unhappy, that's where you gotta be like, whoa, you gotta stop. And it's like, okay, we're looking for something neither of us can give to each other. So what is it that I'm missing?
And I think, that's why in the first part of the course, we talk about your current fishbowl and getting really clear on that, because when you, like you said, Ninj, when you start to become clear on that better version of yourself, and you start to really cultivate that self-love, like I said, you start really looking at all the relationships in your life and going, wow, are any of these empowering? And you start to get really clear, really freaking honest with yourself about, wow, what are these relationships showing me about myself? And you can, like we say, you look at the 5 people closest around you, the 5 people you give your energy to, and take a really hard look at those people, and including your family, whoever you give your energy to. And you'll notice that the more you go down this path, like I said, you become a lot more particular about the people that you let in, right? The friends and the coworkers and the family, you just become more particular about who is around you, because you have higher standards. And I don't say that in a way like you're better or less than or anything. You just become clear on what you want in your life, and you don't have tolerance for anything less than that. And I think that we should all be that way. We should all have less tolerance for bullshit in our life, and step into, like, we talk about it all the time, the medicine that you uniquely yourself have to offer the world. That's what we need. But you can't do that on default mode, because like you said, you'll be looking for somebody else to fill that, and it'll never work. So I feel like that's a really good place to end it, because I want people to watch this. But so let's end it with this, Ninj. What is, because I always want to give somebody, like, practical thing to walk away with. What is one tip or 2 tips that you can give to women out there that are watching this, that may be on the journey, on the path, and kind of stepping into that self-love and looking for love on the outside?
So when I say this, I don't know everybody's situation. So just take it for a grain of salt. I've been through abuse, verbally, physically. I've been through all of that type. And you have to stop and really look around, because I guarantee you know what makes you unhappy. I guarantee you don't know where the happiness is, but you have to stop and truly figure out why you are looking for a partner to make you happy. Is it because you're lonely? Is it because you I think most of it is just loneliness. Nobody likes to be alone. But I think that would be the biggest thing, is to really figure out why is it that your happiness needs to come from somebody else. And know where I was and where I am today. What a difference. And the second advice, I don't say this lightly, but I honestly think anybody should reach to you, Scott or Simon, and because you guys talk to the people before you even let them come into the course. So even if you guys just reach out to them and say, hey, this is my situation, have the conversation. It's free, and they are there to, and I don't know if you do this with everybody, but I was on the phone call for hours, it seems like, but it wasn't hours, but they really take they take the time to get to know you and see if even to see if you're in the right spot in your life to even do this. So those are the two advice I would figure out why you need somebody in your life to make you happy, and honestly to reach out to you guys because whew, life changing.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. This is really, the fifth wheel just shook really hard with that, Ninja. Like really hard. And obviously we are so on the same wavelength because what you said was exactly what I was going to say. As tips from women.
I'm sorry, I took that away.
I shit you not. Like that was, I mean, take a good hard look in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly.
Be really honest. Be really honest. It's a hard, it's not, it's challenging. I hate to use the word hard anymore. It's challenging. But with all challenges on the other side, in my experience, is the most amazing thing you can't even imagine. I swear to God, to you, anyone listening right now, the reason why this is my purpose, the reason why this is my passion is I would have never dreamed in a million years I would be sitting here right now in this physical location, in the place I'm in myself, talking with you, helping other people, living my dream, literally living my purpose, helping other people, doing my work. I would have never thought that. I was so insecure. I hated myself. I really did. I thought I deserved nothing. And to be where I am now and to really truly know there's always deeper levels and deeper levels, but to be at a place where I'm at with how much I just enjoy myself and I love myself, I would have never thought that. And he, of course, the love of my life, had to say hello before we end. So yes, get clear, get really honest, have a look in the mirror, and then reach out. As you said, reach out to one of us. You know, we don't let anybody come in. We want to make sure that you're ready for it. It's a life-changing process, and you got to be ready for that and want it. So reach out. I love it. Thank you, Ninj.
Thank you.
That was so much fun.
It was.
I can't wait to do the next one.
So,
all right. Cheers, sister. Cheers. Cheers. I love you. And
I love you.
Love you guys out there.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.